Like to call the Parks and Recreation, City of Manvel Parks and Recreation Board, October 24, 2024 meeting to order. I'll start with the roll call. Linda Dunn,
I'm here.
Brian Wilmer,
Here.
Larry Akery,
Here.
Byron Saramita,
Present.
Mary Ann Atkinson,
Here.
Ellen Nagley,
Here.
Keith Bonner,
Alive.
But not here.
Paul Safka.
Mr. Sufka called me last night. He said he had another meeting.
Okay.
to go to today.
Luis Leha. All right. I guess we are ready for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Right. So Tammy, you said P-Gall is not present.
So they sent a presentation that Josie's going to bring up to you all and talk on the park next door, proposed park. next
Okay.
door, But they were not able to be here.
Okay.
Okay.
Joseph, are you ready?
Yes, and this would be more like an update to give you a progress report on what we did since the last Parks Board meeting. So PGAL did a pre-development meeting with the city so that they could get familiar with all the requirements and all the codes and standards that we have for the overall project. And then they took all the feedback they received from the last meeting and they provided us with some estimates and an updated exhibit. So on the estimates that was provided, it's preliminary. We have it. Staff hasn't reviewed it in great detail or sent back our thoughts on it. But the estimates for the park, just the park piece, it comes out to be $1,836,713, and that does include like 5% construction contingency, 10% design contingency, and then 1.5% for materials testing. And this is the updated site exhibit that was provided. And if we could zoom in, Brooke, to just show the park area. So they've adjusted the location of the gazebo, and they've brought a pavilion at the center. Then they have the play area adjusted, and then the trail goes around the dog park based on this exhibit. And we would like to see if you would like to provide us any input on what you see. And we'll definitely be looking at the estimate on staff level to get some clarification from them and see if any adjustment needs to be done or made, and then we'll bring that back to you at the next meeting.
Okay. Like to just open the floor up for discussion.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I have a question. Joe's, did we find out about the drainage or the pipes or anything like that? How, if the dog park would be over where the water needs to sit, or did?
So, no, we did not get into a detailed design on this because right now they were focused on kind of putting together the estimate and making some of those slight adjustments. But those details we'll dig deeper into it as we move forward.
Is there a copy of that anywhere that we can see?
Yes, we can forward that to you. Actually, we received this later today, so we were not able to circulate it as part of the agenda packet last time.
I think what I think Mary Ann was asking about is, do we need that drainage? I know there was a question last time about offsite drainage. Do we know if we need a detention pond, or is that going to be taken care of offsite?
And I have a feeling that's still in the works, and that's what we were trying to determine.
Okay.
And I guess when you all get into discussions, is this going to need to be held scale back? Because we talked about a $1.5 million budget, and you said the estimates are already at 1.8.
Correct. And we'll be looking into it to see if everything is accurate, and if any changes need to be made, bounce it back, brainstorm to see if things need to be scaled down, and then bring it back to you. Because right now, we do have it itemized, but we still do have some questions on some of the amounts that are in there. And we did not get an opportunity to get together as a group and kind of mark it up and research it and see what we need to adjust here.
It looks good. I like is that a pavilion that's right in the center by the parking lot? Mm-hmm. It's a covered area? Is that by chance does it have a raised platform, or is it ground level?
The pavilion?
Yeah.
You mean? We don't have any details right now, but I have a feeling it would be raised based on the discussions we had last time.
It looks real good. I know we had mentioned longer parking spaces in front of the pavilion for like farmers market vehicles. Do you know if that made it into the design?
I don't see that. That was one of the things that we noticed, and we'll be taking it back to them and discussing if we have an opportunity, or is it not shown because it's a challenge or it cannot be incorporated.
Right.
We'll have to go back and discuss that.
I know that our parking spaces are already larger
Correct.
than normal, so it may be that it's just not needed.
No problem at all, man, seriously. Just trying to get over where I can see the detail in this thing.
Don't you think at
I
this
see
point,
Sarmiento
Yeah.
Parks Board
using
should
that.
put together a list of things that y'all see that you would like to have changed, some suggestions, and then that way, everybody's got a list and they can compare lists at this point. 'Cause, I mean, at this point, it's kind of in your hands to make suggestions at this point, so.
Can we?
Yeah, it would be
We need
really
to
nice to have
first.
that in our
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah,
And you're gonna get them, they just didn't get them till late this afternoon.
Right.
So they wouldn't have time, so.
If we do that through like email or something, does that violate the Open Meetings Act if we all collaborate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we,
you can do a couple different things with that. You have an item on here for committees, your subcommittees. So if you wanted a subcommittee this evening that focused on all things Croy Park, a subcommittee that focuses on research and ideas for all things City Park, you can do that this evening. Or we'll be emailing this out to everybody. You guys can send your responses to Joe's individually.
Okay.
And then Joe's can compile one sheet.
Okay.
And send everybody's ideas out as one notice from
Back to us?
staff. Yep.
Okay.
So that's acceptable as well.
That's a great idea,
yeah, that would
using
work.
you as our little funneler.
Sure. Sure. And as I said, I mean, the primary purpose of this agenda item was to just let you know that whatever was discussed last meeting, we are working on it. And as a result of that, we have like a preliminary estimate, and then this updated exhibit, which, again, we didn't get a chance to do a detailed review, put together notes. We will be doing that on staff's end. And as part of that process, y'all can, and we'll forward it to you, and then y'all can put together your thoughts, and we can factor that in while we communicate with them. And yeah, I mean, there are a few things that we definitely have to look into, like the parking input that was mentioned. One of the things that we also noticed was some of those really sharp turns on the trails, which may not be very effective if you have a stroller. And again, this may be just preliminary, and when they detail it out, you may have those laid out slightly differently. But those are some of the things that we'll be looking into.
Do you know, did they include bollards for closing part of Large Avenue in case there was like a
That's another big discussion area is what to do with the road.
Yeah.
You know, there's been several ideas tossed around. One was making it one way, one was making it slanted parking to see how that would work if they did do one way. I think all of the ideas had a way to put the mechanisms in effect that if you had a big event, you could close the road.
Right.
And no matter whatever design it turned out to be, most of the discussions that I've been a part of have said, you know, that's what we'll do is, one way or another, we'll make it to where we can close it off. So a lot of that stuff is still, that's what this is for. Once you get the drawing, like I say, go through and make your picks and then they'll get given to PGAL. One of the things I wanted to let y'all know I did was at the recent TML conference, there were 5 or 6 people that I talked to that did an inclusive park design. And one of the things that they said, once you have the finalized design that says, okay, this is going to be a playground area, then they would like the opportunity to meet with the committees and present here's what we can do with your 1,500 square feet that you gave us. And there's a lot of really good ideas. I've got some brochures that I meant to bring them tonight, and I just forgot them. I'll bring them up here and give them to y'all, and y'all can kind of pass them around and start getting some ideas. Because I think that's one thing the citizens really said they were interested in, was inclusive parks. You know, they have a lot of neat designs. It's really looking down the road to bigger park areas. Because when you get into a little bit bigger park area, they have things for like the people that have kids that have sight problems. And that's really amazing, some of the stuff I looked at, where they showed how the sensory stuff that they can do in these parks now, to where, and you can see some of it if you ever go to Pearland and go out to that park that they just put in about a year ago, that's I think it's the Ed, what do they call it, the Ed Thompson, something over there. It's out in Shadow Creek. You'll see some of this new stuff. It'd be good for y'all to go out there and look at those type playgrounds to see some of the equipment that they put in. And they do turnkey work. They'll come in, design it, once they know the space that you have and your budget. They'll design it, install it, work with you on what kind of turf you want on there, because there's so much that's out there right now that'll have to be decided on. Stuff that lasts 5 years versus stuff that'll last 10. Most of the stuff I saw had up to 10-year guarantees on not losing the color on these covers. If, you know, I'd worried about canvas covers. Well, they're getting better with them. If they can guarantee you that if it fades at all in 5 years, they're going to come in and replace it at no cost. So, you know, you can start kind of comparing cost there for that versus metal.
Right.
And look at some of the different ideas. So I think it'll be really good once you got it down to a design and you know what space you have, what size to bring one of these or 2 or 3 of these companies in and let them show you some stuff.
So 2 questions, Keith. What was the name of this meeting that you went to, this conference?
It was the TML conference, the
Texas Municipal League.
Okay.
big George R. Brown, and there was tons of people out there for that.
And then the second question was, what was the name of that new park in Shadow Creek? Do you,
I think it's the Ed Thompson.
Ed Thompson something or other?
It's out there by the sports complex that they put in. Probably.
I can Google it. Just so I have something to kind of go
It's about a
on.
mile before you get to Alameda Road.
Okay.
Right-hand
Around
side.
Kingsley?
Yeah, someplace
Okay.
right in there.
It's called the Ed Thompson Inclusive Park.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it,
That's easy.
man,
It's a really neat
right,
place
man, I
to
don't
go
have
out
to do
there.
anything.
It's a really neat place to go out and look around.
Yeah.
I'm strongly kind of pushing that on all my fellow city council people and everybody I talk to, that as we start to develop parks, that's the way we need to go. And it's not just a park for that group. It adds to what you would normally see for the non-challenged
Yeah,
child.
Parks Plus,
It
yeah.
adds this to it.
So would this be like a different designer than what we already saw, PGAL? Like different perspectives and somebody that would do the park turnkey? Is that what I'm understanding?
I haven't seen any designs from Pigal on equipment. They've been dealing.
Yeah,
mainly with-
this is all we've got. I'm just
Yeah.
saying they would bring other things for us to look
I
at.
don't know if they would or if we do it on our own. It's something.
This is just the playground
It's
set
discussed
portion,
with-
correct?
Right.
This is just the playground
Yeah.
portion.
Just
Strictly the
playground.
playground,
The
okay.
guy that came last time when they couldn't be here,
Yes.
he does playgrounds. So that was like maybe their go-to guy for it.
He's a subcontractor.
Right, that does playgrounds. So, and it's interesting, I've actually looked into a lot of that stuff and the ADA and the sensory, it's actually really cool. Yeah.
Just to watch the kids that go out there to that park, and it's the first time they've been able to go to a park and participate, and to watch the parents, to where they can bring their child to someplace that's safe for them and actually let them play. And instead of having to do things for them, this child's learning how to do things on its own, and it's just really cool to watch.
Joseph, when you email us this, will it have any specs in it, like the size of the pavilion, the estimated size of the walking trail? Will it contain that information?
Yes,
Okay,
we'll make sure we include that.
great.
But it looks like a good design. I'm really happy with the way it's coming
I agree.
out. Yeah.
It's progressed really well from the very first one that was presented.
I see a square that's got some words on it. I can't see what it is. It's
That's what I was trying to let you know.
south of the playground.
Restroom?
Is it a
Yeah,
restroom?
restroom.
Oh, okay.
And the other place, gazebo, I can't read it. Can you read it up on there?
Pavilion and playground
Pavilion is
is the rectangle.
Center. And then you have gazebo on this side.
West side.
You have playground, public restroom, and then the dog park area.
Yeah.
With or without detention, depending on.
Dog park Slacum.
One thing I heard Pigal say was that their final deal will throw in things like picnic tables and things like that, where you can, kind of see how many would fit in a certain area without clogging it up.
Yeah, I think you're right, that shark fin on the trail by the gazebo, I think there's gonna be a burned off trail.
I find it hard.
By the rest.
I find it hard to figure out how sharp that really is, though, because you're looking at, 3.5 acres there? It's a bigger area when you go over there and stand in an area than looking at something like this.
But it's almost like a hairpin.
Yeah, it's like a hairpin.
Yeah, it needs to be rounded off a little bit.
Maybe they were just trying to conserve space or use space, but yeah, it definitely needs to be.
Or make it look fun. Who knows?
And it's also possible that it'll have more details. It'll make more sense when you have more details on.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a section which works differently, or I don't know. So whatever it is, the goal is that as we progress, before the next meeting, we'll brainstorm, give them input, we'll get your input, pass that along, and then bring to you whatever comes out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. I think this is a really good start. I would just want to make sure that even if we were not going to do like lighting and stuff at this time, that we had the infrastructure there. So that could be something in a phase 2 or phase 3. And also, like you said, with vendors being able to connect to electricity or, putting Christmas lights and stuff like that out.
Yeah, we made that mistake. We didn't have electricity everywhere and suffered for it.
I know that's one of the things that we talked to them about, was putting the stub ups for power. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be on the final drawing. You'll be able to see, because there's nothing right now on power and anything up there that they finalized. So
I'd like to make sure they're not cutting any trees down that are essential. I know that's probably getting into the weeds, but I wanted to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, and we have that on our list too. And it's interesting you mentioned that because that was one of the items we saw on the estimates that we needed clarification on. Because I think based on our preliminary look at it, there may be a need to remove maybe one tree, small tree, but we would make sure, we'll clarify that that's what our goal is.
I'm kind of assuming that those trees are just sort of symbolic, because that's 3.5 acres and there's only 10 trees.
Well, for sure, the ones over here are there. I actually walked through there. I went through there, and those are definitely over there. They're very nice, very big trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's big one, there's a huge one in the middle where the playground kind of is. But then there's all the other little trash trees around, so.
Maybe what that is those are the existing trees that they're going to keep. And then,
That's the biggest trees out there
okay,
that
and then they will.
it was kind of told them, we don't want those to go.
Right,
You know.
and so then they'll augment those with some more smaller, newer trees, because it looks pretty open the way it is right now.
Yeah.
And plus, remember, all of that north side is already tree covered
Right.
along the
But
property
not under
line.
our control.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's gonna offer you shade.
Yeah, Croy Park has that problem where the fence line has a lot of trees, but they're all on the other side of the property line, and if a developer comes in and buys the property, there goes your screen.
That's why we're gonna get a tree ordinance.
You gonna get a what?
Tree ordinance.
Oh. That will.
It'll be better than what you have now. Let's put it that way. That's the goal.
So is there any other input that you would want us to keep in mind while we work on this?
I guess one thing I just want to mention, if we go with the dog park, I know that's kind of up in the air, but I don't think everybody will want to run through the dog park or walk through the dog park, so there might need to be a cutoff where the fence line would be, or just a circle back right there. Does that make sense?
Take it like across the front of it
Yeah, exactly.
to where they have an option.
Yeah, because half the people won't have dogs, so they're not going to go in the dog park. So they're just going to want to cut through the grass.
Kind of like where that line is in front of the dog
Yeah,
park.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have an interior fence that
It's gonna,
contains the dog.
it's gonna
park
have an
area.
interior fence in it.
You know, I mean, so you could actually have the trail that walks around the
It
dog
is.
park.
Yeah.
It will.
Oh, okay, it'll go on
Yeah.
completely on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was always
Okay,
said
that works.
even if for some reason it was just a retention pond, it was gonna have fencing around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was discussed early on. Yeah.
Okay.
But I still see people that wouldn't want to go. If it was me, I'm too fat to walk that whole thing. I'm gonna want the shortcut.
Well, not
I'm
if you, not
I'm
if you
right
walk
there
for
with
about
you.
3 or 4 months, you won't.
But I know me, I'm not going to.
Yeah, you can do a half mile and a whole mile.
My wife can't get me around the block twice right now, so.
We need to get a dog, and then you can.
I got a dog. My wife walks it perfectly every day.
I see this as a dead end.
I'm just gonna let that go.
Gonna rest.
The only other thing that I can see that we might want to consider adding, and this is really small, but a drive that goes up to one side or the other of the pavilion that leads from the parking lot to the side of the pavilion. So if you need to,
I thought about it coming down that north side from the west.
Like a service road?
just
thing?
it
Yeah.
would just be a driveway.
But that was when they originally had the, like, 3 or 4 or 5 spots for the vending trucks on one drawing, and then we kind of talked to them about bringing a road to the pavilion, because if you're going to have anything, something to come up there, somebody's going to want to drop off property.
Right.
You don't want them to have to go through the cars and take a chance of
Bring the
scratching
city trucks,
something
come
up.
to power wash it or whatever, yeah.
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 You need to have access.
So that's one thing to put on your list about
Yeah.
I just think that's the best place to not bother as little area as you can, take away from the park, is to put it back there. Plus, depending on that restroom, you're gonna have cleaning crews that have to get there and things like that too.
That looks
Well, it's
pretty close.
Parking lot, yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to hike to get to the restrooms. Like the ones at Croy Park are pretty far away from.
Oh, that was one of the deals. One of the first designs had it back over in the northwest corner, and it was kind of asked, I think, to move it closest to the park area.
Yeah.
Of course, so that, then we get a lot of higher use being close to parking in the road.
Yeah.
So you gotta be prepared for that. Maintenance, cleaning. Because I'm assuming there won't be a lock on it, or how do you?
I've seen it done all kinds of ways. I've seen it,
I was thinking the same. I've seen it both ways. Sometimes they're logged, open during a certain period of time, and then I've seen also situation where it's always open.
I've seen them out at Pomona. They're a big deal. They'll hang a sign on the door when they're having an event that tells you what the code is. But then when they're not out there, they take them off, and only the residents of the neighborhood know what the code is.
A lot of public restrooms close at dusk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, so it changes
Maybe they
during
can
the
have
year.
automatic locks on
Yeah.
them or something.
In summer, they're open late. In winter, they close early.
But then again, the doors up front have automatic locks on them too, don't they?
So Joseph, our action is to, once we receive this from you, if we have any other input, send the email back to you. Tammy, you guys
me,
will
and-
collect it and send it back out?
Correct.
Okay.
But just remember to just reply only, not reply all.
Okay.
Yeah, and there will never be all of y'all's emails. You even have that option to reply all. Just send it to myself or Joe's. When we send things out, you'll see there's no email addresses on there, just be ourselves on there. So you don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
Perfect.
That is wise.
Is that right?
And if you guys want to put an electric charger for electric cars to be routed to this park, somebody would really like that.
You get a new car.
No, I've had it.
Yeah. You were one of the first
Your
Tesla
license
owners
plate
in
is different.
Oh, because they went up $200
Oh,
for
don't
special
tell me that.
plates. Yeah.
So you want an EV?
Yes, a Tesla one is really good.
I know somebody who.
That's how little I know. They're
Just talking about
different, no matter which. I thought they were a universal type.
So they have adapters.
I know
Inclusivity,
sell it
okay,
to us for
inclusivity is what we're
cheaper.
talking about here, even in our EVs. okay,
Right.
so-
So we need a charger for a white four-door Tesla.
Yes, and maybe
What's the license plate?
I don't even know it anymore. It used to be for real.
Yeah.
But I had to change
That's
it.
why we thought you got a new car.
Yeah, they went up $200 for special plates on the
Really?
registration, so to get it registered was gonna be $500.
Good
And I
Lord.
just couldn't see paying $500 to register it. So we had to lose the specialized plates.
So tell me, I know this is getting way off subject, but for real, are you,
For real, I always say that. For real?
oh, I thought maybe you raise llamas or?
Oh, no,
Chinchillas.
just for real is
Fur.
what I say.
Or maybe,
When I
okay.
get angry. For real.
Okay, gotcha. 10-4.
You say that behind the wheel a lot, when people cut you off.
Yes, with other words.
Just the sign language for real.
I think we're ready to,
And-
I'm sorry.
And just to clarify, for the agenda item itself, we are not taking any action tonight. This
Okay.
was just discussion, and we'll move forward.
Okay.
Next one.
So we are ready to move on to the next agenda item, discussion and possible action on Keep Texas Beautiful affiliate program.
Yes, so this was also included as a discussion item primarily, and to get some input and kind of initiate a discussion basically, so that staff can see what route to take in terms of whether or not to consider the Keep Texas Beautiful affiliation. Is anybody aware of the program, Keep Texas Beautiful?
I am.
Yeah. Okay, so half and half, I guess.
Does that cost money?
I don't know the details.
So it would be like Keep Manvel Beautiful, is that what you're talking about?
Correct.
Keep Texas, which is under Keep America Beautiful?
Correct. So it's a program that's been in place for more than 50 years, I guess. And I think Keep Texas Beautiful was founded in 1967 based on their website. So it's basically a nonprofit organization, and communities, counties, nonprofit organization can be affiliates to the program and sorry, I got distracted. Were you saying something? No? Oh, okay. So there are benefits to it, there are grant opportunities that they have that we'll be able to access. There are trainings and training opportunities that we can avail. There are certain eligibility criteria, and to answer your question on the cost, there is a subscription or like an annual due that we have to pay, but it's not very significant. It's not a very significant amount. And the way communities, there are certain other eligibility criteria that they review as well. And one of the things that we have to keep in mind is come up with a decision on whether our parks board would be the board for Keep Manvel Beautiful, or would you like to see another voluntary group that we create as a non-profit organization that serves as Keep Manvel Beautiful? It's been done both ways. Like, for example, Keep Alvin Beautiful, I think it's a completely different board. Similarly, a completely different organization. Similarly, even Santa Fe has a Keep Santa Fe Beautiful program. I'm not 100% sure which way they have it, but I know City of Missouri City, City of Richmond, some of the other cities in the area, the Parks Board is different, and then it's a different group that operates as the Keep the City Beautiful or Keep Texas Beautiful affiliate. Now, primarily, they focus on activities like organizing training and educational programs for the community, litter, graffiti removal, making sure that community is beautiful. There are a lot of landscaping related program, planting of trees, beautifying areas within the city. The affiliate programs and the grants are usually geared towards those kind of activities. So we would like to hear from you what your thoughts are. Some of you know more about the program, of course, and even those who do not, if you have any questions about the program, I would try my best to answer. And what we are trying to achieve is, based on what we hear from you, see how to apply, or should we consider the Parks Board as Keep Manvel Beautiful, or should we look at other volunteers to be involved, so that because there are these action items that the organization will take, like, for example, a cleanup program. So there will be individuals involved out in the community doing these things. So we are trying to get some input from you all to see which direction we should take while we are applying, and how to set it all up. If that makes sense.
I'm interested in an affiliation with this group, just because a lot of the grants I explored want us to identify a nonprofit status. So if we were working with this alliance, that would give us that, correct? And we'd be able to apply for grants through them?
Yeah.
Okay. And if we're members, does that put us up in the nonprofit status? Or is the City of Manvel nonprofit?
No, that is a detail I'll have to look into. I was not able to get a good understanding on that, because I've also heard that some cities, it's the Parks Board or the Economic Development Corporation that signs up as the affiliate members. And I don't know exactly in that case, do we have to register the board as a separate nonprofit organization or not? But that's a great question that we can look into and see if that's what is needed. But But the other alternative is if there's another volunteer group out there in the community who's active and who wants to take on the job, and y'all can act as like an advisory capacity to that organization also.
It'd be good to have some corporate leaders that want to sign up for the organization, because those corporate leaders then can share funds with the granting agency.
Right.
Okay, so
people.
you'd win all in two directions if you could get some affiliation there.
I got a question. How would this affect the relationship status that we have with Keep Pearland Beautiful right now?
So the goal for this program is that, like, within the region, these different affiliates collectively, each of them, when they do their job, it eventually adds to keeping Texas beautiful. That's the overall concept. So they are a separate organization body. They are doing their job. When we set it up, we'll be doing our job separately.
Right now, we donate to them mainly to be able to use the recycle facility.
That's correct. I'm actually on the board of Keep Pearland Beautiful.
Is that how it's done right now?
Yeah, it covers the cost for Manvel citizens to drop off household hazardous waste, because there's an expense associated with that. And that's, like you said, is through the recycling center. Because we don't have a recycling center.
I'm wondering, I would hope we could keep that.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we would not. Several cities do that. League City makes a contribution to the recycling center. They have a Keep League City Beautiful. There wouldn't be any conflict with that.
And is that an agreement that we have with them currently, do you know?
Yes.
So it's not an agreement, no.
It's like a
It's just
referendum.
been a year-to-year budget item. Never entered into anything
That's interesting,
official-wise.
because in the board meetings, they call it an agreement.
It's a handshake.
Gotcha.
So no money,
it's never
no
been
money
that.
change, I mean, there's some fees associated with it?
For a citizen that goes there, that's not from Manvel, they have to pay.
Yeah, I use the
Right.
heck out of their place, yeah, no, I'm just saying, but how does the city of Manvel
So
pay,
the city covers your cost.
right, but how? I'm just saying, what's the
They budgeted
mechanism?
money to it, and I don't know what they budgeted this year.
Yeah.
So is it in the form of a fee
That's what it was before.
that they charge Manvel, charges them a fee, and they pay it via a fee? I'm just was curious about the mechanism, how it,
We pay
that,
like, I think it's $25,000 a year, and
Yeah,
you just show your
Unlimited
driver's
amount.
license and you're fine.
right, right.
Unlimited amount.
I don't think there's any-
It's an unlimited amount. You can bring as much as you want, as household hazardous stuff.
You just adhere to the schedule of, certain days they do certain things, and so.
Yeah. They, it used to be $10,000 from the city of Manvel, and the recycling center was losing money off of it, so we've upped it. And I think it's about break even right now with the 25K that the city donates, because then they have to pay for it to be disposed of, right? So they're just a kind of a pass-through place. Because I'm on the board, I would say being on the board of Keep Pearland Beautiful, like Pearland has a much larger population than we do. We have difficulty finding people to be on the board. So what I would recommend is that the Parks Board be the Keep Manvel Beautiful Board, at least at the start, until we get it going and it becomes popular, and then we can find more people to maybe be on that board if we want to split it off. But I highly recommend that the Parks Board be the Keep Manvel Beautiful Board from the start. Another thing is, we had a Keep Manvel Beautiful at one point. Jackie Silva was the president of it, and apparently there is a Keep Manvel Beautiful bank account that has $2,000-3,000 in it still. It existed at one point, but it's been inactive for over a decade. So,
And I'm not sure if that group had signed up with the Keep Texas Beautiful and is part of that affiliation program.
I think that I don't know, I think you have to be, So keep
To
Texas
use that- to
America
use that.
beautiful, keep Texas beautiful, keep your city beautiful. It's all,
But right now, it doesn't show up on their system. We're not part of their.
either they didn't sign up originally or it's been inactive for so long.
Inactive. Yeah, because I think we have to maintain certain, we have to show the activities that we've done, and we have to make sure we pay the dues. So, okay, I mean, I hear that if there's support to that idea, then we'll move forward based on that.
It's a valuable thing. It's good for your community, if you can find the people to get involved and volunteer. And you're right, having a corporate partner.
That's one of the biggest parts of it right there, is finding the corporate partners to work with. Because they have so much grant access, it helps you so much.
Now, Brian, are you familiar with any maybe disadvantages of having the Parks Board and the Keep Manvel Beautiful Board, just one and the same?
It would be extra work for the Parks Board members, a little bit. I'm assuming we would deal with it during our Parks Board meetings. But no, not really. The two goals have similar aims. You know, the Keep Manvel Beautiful would do a lot of litter collection. With Keep Pearland Beautiful, we have a lot of tree planting activities that we do. There's a lot of grants. Texas Parks and Wildlife
Yep.
has donated a lot of trees to Pearland for that. Good trees too. I mean, like 30-gallon trees, not little
They aren't cheap.
saplings. No, they're not. They planted over 1,000 30-gallon trees by the water plant. recently.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. I went out there and volunteered and planted a grand total of 1.
I talked with a lady that was with the Texas Forestry Division or something.
Texas Forest Service?
Yeah, it may have been, and she gave me some really good contacts. This goes forward to give you to be in contact with. It has a lot of grant opportunities, especially right now. Because I was talking to them about the tree ordinance, and they were telling me some information about that, how they could help there. So there's a lot of help out there available. And grant money's kind of like scholarship money at the schools. There's
Not enough
a lot
applicants.
of it that
Yeah,
Yeah.
never
we just
gets
don't
used.
apply for it.
Because nobody knows, number one, grants, you have to have someone that really, really knows how to work that system properly. And you have to be careful with some of them,
Right.
really careful, because they'll tie you into
Because-
things you
yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was
the
a big concern.
paperwork requires almost 2 or 3 full-time people to even handle the invoices and stuff like
And
that.
I think
So
that's
you
part
kind
of
of
what
want
Brian's
to
talking
pick it.
about. It's gonna take some work. It's not just make an application.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
It
county-
it requires staff and everything,
The
so.
county parks department has a full-time grants writer, and she earns her keep.
I'm sure.
And some of the affiliates, what they do is they also partner with local businesses, schools, for some of the physical activities that we need, and sometimes even for funding with the local businesses and stuff. And it works out great. I've seen that being very productive in some of the other communities that I've worked at.
But we do have some restrictions in the city of Manvel. There's some policies that we have to follow for grant writing and a chain of command. So you've got to kind of be cautious and follow those policies exactly.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you can't get people to co-write on the grants, and there's some restrictions there, and who you can contact and things like that. So we have to go through staff with every grant we write.
I would imagine so.
Is there any conflict of interest with working with our group and the Keep Manvel Beautiful, Keep Pearland Beautiful, any of those groups? Is there any conflict of interest that you know of?
I'm not the one to, I don't think there would be, because our groups are similarly aligned, you know,
Okay.
because they're an environmental group, we're an environmental group. I don't know, but I doubt
Okay.
it. I doubt
Okay.
it very seriously. I know that Keep Pearland Beautiful works very closely with the Pearland Parks Department
Okay.
and
Okay.
Pearland Forestry Department.
Yeah, and I think so too. But again, I'll look into some of the details on what it would entail, or how does the process vary when, like, say, a Parks Board or another board of the city becomes the Keep the City Beautiful affiliate? If there's any additional paperwork needed, is there any? Because I've also seen, like, members of Park Board being part of the affiliate program as well. Like, I mean, you have a Parks Board, you have the Keep the City Beautiful organization, and a member of the board would be one of the members of the program as well. So staff will look into some of the details, but I think we got the guidance we need. The board is interested in it, and the board would like to take the approach of the board being the members of the affiliate program. So we'll look into details, move forward with the application process and all of that, and keep you posted on that.
Any additional discussion on that item? All right, we can move on to agenda item C, discussion and possible action on assigning subcommittees.
So for this one, it's just going to be a rolling item because as you guys get deeper into your conversations at any meeting, you may decide that you guys want to form a small subcommittee of y'all to work on a certain project. So if there's nothing for tonight, that's fine. Just know we'll keep that on there so at any time you guys do have that opportunity to do that.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Well, I would like to give the floor to Linda. She's done a lot of research on grants, so that may be an opportunity to create some kind of subcommittee around that. So,
I explored grants, and there are just so many. But many of them require affiliation with nonprofits, or they require your nonprofit number or your tax-free ID. So that would be a limitation for us. So I can see a subcommittee working on a better understanding of the Manvel policies and procedures regarding grant writing and how we go about getting sponsors.
And the city is
co-writers.
tax-free, so we do have a tax-free ID. So if
Yeah,
we don't
okay.
set something up separate, we are.
You do have that?
Yep.
Okay. So there are many national sites for grants that cover total grants. There are sidewalk grants, there are tree grants, there are gardening grants, there are sustainability grants. And many of them are, they say the greater Houston area. And I didn't know if we were considered in the greater Houston area or not. So many of the grants are from there. George Foundation, Garden Club, those groups. And one idea that I thought a really frosty idea at this time is sustainability. So if we could get a project started with some of the schools, we can actually put some beds out and allow the children to learn how to plant and grow a garden. And so that would be a really nice grant to write, and it'd probably be funded easily, because that's like a push now. All the cities are trying to put in parks and facilities for children to actually learn how to plant. And I thought that that would be a really good idea as far as pulling in co-sponsors. Can you imagine HEB sponsoring a plot of little gardens for the children? And I do know that at the local schools here in Manvel and Alvin Independent School District, they do have a gardening group. But currently they're using grounds that are on the school grounds, are close to a school. So any of the parks we put in that would be close to a school, like the city park, we could actually put displays of kids growing things in the garden, and the sponsors could put their sign on it as being a funder for this particular plot. And so that's a really good idea, and it pulls people in, it pulls the community in, everything like that. So if we could get a sustainability grant started, that would be awesome, and we could pull that off.
On that same topic, and maybe Brian, you'll know, so the park that's right by the recycling center has an editable trail. So they planted different things that you can walk by and pick the
Yeah, it's a,
Is it successful? Before, when I walked there, it hadn't grown up enough that there
Yeah.
was anything growing. Is it successful?
I don't know, I haven't gotten any.
I love the concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an edible trail. It's on the other side of Magnolia. They have citrus trees and pecan trees and plum trees, and fig trees and all kinds of stuff.
And can you imagine HEB with a display in their store, grown by children of Manvel? You know, it keeps going.
Yeah. But no,
I
love-
think that's
I
a
love
great
the edible
idea,
trail.
because that's what I was talking about doing an orchard or something at Croy to have the kids come out and learn how to do that. So I think that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to
So-
go check that out. Though. I know you said something about it, but you hadn't been there.
I haven't been there, no.
So
The same
we just
thing.
have to find a grant that is for the sustainability projects, and then we can do the proposal. And that would be a good start, and it would be something that really benefit the community.
Something you might have to think about with the school district. I know they've started this very nice, they're going to try and partner with the local restaurants, you know, to try and say, you know, sell their products as they grow them and learn how to grow them.
The farm to table.
But again, we have to follow the policy of the city of Manvel, and we have to have a group that's really attuned to that, and so we could have everybody on the same page. We just have to make sure we dot all our i's and cross the t's.
And who would be our point person with the city to make sure that we're following any guidance required?
So for the grants, if you guys pick a committee this evening, let's say 3 people, I will email that grants policy to those 3. You guys can meet on the side and really dig into that policy. And then if you have questions, it would either be the city manager, Joe's, myself. Most of us could answer the questions that you might would have on that. Probably even Mr. Bonner.
Yeah.
Being the council liaison for y'all. So I would email it out to y'all so you guys could start meeting and really digging into that and then ask the questions that you might have on it.
Yeah, most of the grants are going to be due in October for the following year. So right now, we're out of commission because most of the grants have already been submitted for next year.
And I've got a good grant site through the Texas Municipal League that lists a ton of different ones, and there's lots of rolling ones. So yeah, you're right on that, but there are some rolling
There are
ones.
some rolling ones, like the George
that-
Foundation and Cullen, and some of those parks boards for the greater Houston area. So if we're considered greater Houston, then we would be eligible for some of those.
Yeah, and I'm not sure,
Is it
I call us
mileage-
greater
mileage, like
Houston, but not
50
sure.
mile radius?
I don't know, I'd have to
Yeah.
get into the grant.
There's
Yeah.
also some stuff out there that's not technically a grant. It's more, some of the wealthiest people in the United States give away money to different programs. So you need to keep that on the radar too.
So how do I tap into those resources? Any ideas?
I just started digging into it, but the Gates Foundation does it. Elon Musk does some of it, especially since he's moving his operations to Texas and everything. He started digging into that, so
Yeah,
just need to do a little bit more studying and find out.
okay. I imagine the Kennedys would too.
There's all
Just
kinds of
pushing that,
people
yeah.
around, some people that, it's not the big names that you know about that are some of the biggest donators to stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you can tap in, if you can give me some idea on how to tap into those, we can look at those too in the
I'll look into it.
subcommittee.
Fertitta's doing, Tillman Fertitta doing all kinds of stuff. Working his way down south.
Okay. But some of those would require us to get approval through the mayor and through the city manager before we could apply for any grant. So we have to get approval through the chain of command in order to
And
do
that's
anything.
no problem. Like I say, Tammy's giving you 5 different avenues there that you can send it
Okay.
to, that we can get it to the right people.
Okay, awesome.
So do we have any other, I'm assuming, Linda, you would lead the grant subcommittee. Do we have any other volunteers to be a part of that committee?
Would you like to help me? You're really good in the way parks are aligned and things like that. I need someone who can help me with money, how much things cost. and someone who's good with planning and what would be in the parks, and with some ideas maybe regarding the sustainability gardens in Manvel.
I
And so-
love to.
Okay.
That keeps them out of a corner.
You're interested in the gardening and the sustainability part. I think you,
oh.
I think
Are you
you'd be well
volunteering?
suited for it.
Or is he telling you to do it?
Voluntold?
I would be honored to. I can put in my 2 cents and stuff
Okay.
like that. Okay.
So we need to make a motion.
Well-
Okay. So we have 3 members. Is there anyone else interested in
And it can only be 3.
3? Okay.
Can only be
Keep you
Gotcha.
out of a
Okay.
quorum.
Gotcha. All right. Motion to create a Parks Board subcommittee for grants. Can I get a motion?
I move that we create a subcommittee in the Parks and Recreation Board for grant writing and choice of grant fundings.
We get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Was that Byron that seconded it?
Larry.
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 And it was going to be Linda, Mary Ann, and
Brian.
Bree Bree.
What'd you call me?
Bree Bree, sorry.
All right. I guess we're ready to move on to the next item.
That's your only subcommittee you've thought of?
I think that's the only one we have for right now.
It seems like an immediate need.
Because when you brought up the
Barbara.
questions about how would y'all get ideas together,
Right,
so back to the City Hall part.
right.
If you had a subcommittee looking at that of 3 people, they could take y'all's individual ideas and generate one, maybe quicker than sending 7 people's ideas into one. So that's another place you could make a subcommittee. I just wrote down 3 or 4 that you could think about, things that are in the works. Dolores Martin Park is starting to be looked at. Sooner or later, I don't know what they're going to do with Akery Lakery.
What's that again?
Akery Lakery.
That's a little bit.
Lake Akery?
Yeah, that's what it started out.
But I had heard somebody say that was
Just
going
call
to
it
be
Lake-
park area too.
Portion
So,
of it. Just call
so
it Lakery.
down the line, that's something else that you can keep in the back burner that you know, when it gets to the point where it's coming to y'all as a board, you can have subcommittee breakouts to where 3 of y'all can talk to, no, you can't do that. Well, the 3 of y'all can talk together and come up with some ideas that you present to this meeting. And then that's maybe a little quicker than just, 7 people going like that. So, the
And
last
we
one I
always
had
have to
on.
wait till the next meeting to bring our information. We can't funnel it through Joseph.
Oh, I'm not saying
disperse?
that.
Okay, I'm asking
No.
procedure.
No,
Okay.
procedure-wise on subcommittee is up to the subcommittee.
Okay.
Or, don't let me say something I'm wrong, but y'all can, 3 people can talk all you want to as long as one of those 3 doesn't involve another member of the board. Okay, it kind of has to stay between y'all 3 until you're in a regular meeting, then you can present those ideas to everybody.
That's what I was asking. So if we got together and we just had these great ideas and came up with some really good, actionable stuff, we wanted to get it to our members before then, we could, and he could distribute it before we have to wait for the full.
Yes, anything you
Monthly,
come up
okay.
with like that you don't want to wait till a meeting needs to come back to Tammy or Joe's
Okay.
and they can.
Just trying to learn the.
So, and what we would do with that,
And the ways.
it kind of walks a fine line of that the Open Meetings Act doesn't let you try to circumvent, of course, an open meeting. You absolutely could filter information that you want the whole board. When we send out an agenda packet, we would include information like that within your packet for everybody to see for a public discussion. But that way, they've got knowledge ahead of time.
Okay.
But that way, also the public that's extremely interested to know as well, we're not just going through email where it's not publicly shared.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. You could filter it through
Okay.
staff to share it as well.
Okay.
Is it possible, and I don't really know the way this works, if the grant committee finds a great opportunity, but it's closing in a couple of days. Do we have to give a certain amount of notice, or can we call in like an emergency meeting of the Parks Board where we can get everybody together and vote on something? Or do you have to give like 2 weeks' notice to the public?
So for the grants, it's a little bit different because I don't have the policy right in front of me, but I think your direction for the final approval of the grant submission comes from council. So you would have to,
I probably
Yeah.
used the wrong example then. If a committee had something that they wanted to discuss right away of a timely matter, is it possible to call an urgent meeting of the Parks Board?
oh, as long as we have 72 hours in advance
72.
and we can confirm that we're going to have a quorum, yeah, you guys can call special meetings.
Okay. Because that would be another way, if there was something of a timely manner, then we could just call a meeting and we could all discuss it.
Yeah, so you guys, unlike the council on the planning, development, and zoning that has specific meeting dates set as part of their bylaws, you guys have kind of a suggested fourth Thursday of the month meeting date, but you can keep your schedule at the realm of your board. So if you want more meetings, less meetings,
Sooner?
there
Okay.
you go, absolutely.
Okay, so-
We just have to know 72 hours in
Just gotta-
advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we get
And-
it 72, yeah.
And with what he's saying about an urgent meeting or urgent, we have to act, it still has to go to city council, which has to get on their agenda, right?
If it were something that had to do with grants to apply, something like that, but if you just want to distribute some good information of something that's coming up or something that you just need to have a special meeting on, to get on a council agenda maybe.
Yeah,
Something like that, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
it's important to get on the council agenda.
So speaking of fourth Thursday, the November meeting would fall on Thanksgiving.
So who's bringing what? It's a potluck? I'm pretty good with banana pudding. Of course, that's not very Thanksgiving, but hey.
Oh,
You good at eating?
Bring
I
it,
am.
bring it.
Hey, we can
Yeah.
cook off and we can all make banana pudding.
I can be the judge.
Your wife is already trying to, I don't even know her, and we'll become enemies, yeah.
So your fourth Thursday of the month for both November and December are going to run into some hiccups due to the Christmas holiday and the Thanksgiving holiday. I know we had kind of picked that date because there were different conflicts with different things that some of you guys are involved in, different days of the week. So totally up to y'all for what day you'd want to meet in November, if you want to meet at all. If you want to try to bump that up, I can look at some dates and send them out and see if we could get a quorum of y'all to maybe the 21st. I need to look at the court and other meeting things to make sure there's nothing going on. Or if you just want to work on your subcommittee stuff, and if something comes up and we need to call a meeting, we could base it on that. What are y'all's thoughts?
It feels like to me we need to at least meet in November because we have this hot ticket to me item back here.
Okay.
For the city, but for the large park. I always got to name it. I can't keep calling it city park because they're all city parks. So for that, so y'all cool with meeting sometime in November?
Yeah, I would be in favor of that. If we missed anything, I think it would be permissible for December. But yeah, definitely meet in November.
Would you want to try the third Thursday? That's the 21st. I don't know.
I don't have any conflicts with
Is
that.
Thursday the best day for everybody still, or do we need to look at that?
I think the 21st would work for.
Yep.
Okay.
How about you?
Oh.
Question real quick, since she mentioned it, City Hall Park or City Park, what are we going to call it? What's going to be the name of it? Do we know
I
yet?
thought we were calling the Larry Acre Park.
No, that's a separate park.
Right now, it's just
other
called
eight.
City Hall Park for
City Hall Park? I mean,
right now.
So the project itself is the West Wing expansion, and that's part of the West Wing expansion. But I don't know that it's gotten any dedicated.
So we are working on a brand new naming policy. So whatever the name's gonna be would be
Part of-
adopted using that policy.
Okay, give
So
us
we-
a policy, we'll follow it, right?
I will email that policy to
Yeah.
y'all. So that policy was just recently adopted by
Oh,
the
it exists
council.
now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And it kind of goes through the steps that council would take to put the information out there for the community's involvement on park naming. So not sure at what point that'll come, but so you'll all be familiar with what that policy
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
I'll send it to you as well. Yeah.
No, it was.
One thing I noticed, I sent out some of my neighbors over to Croy Park for them to check it out. Is that park open?
Yes. Was it the gate lock?
Gate was locked, and so the
What time was
residents
that?
could not go in. It was 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Okay, so
So
we're
maybe
working on
getting-
putting an electronic gate up
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Right now, we coordinate with Public Works and the police department for the locking and unlocking of it.
Okay.
Goodness, okay.
On the weekends, the officers go out there. The problem is if the officers get busy on any calls, it postpones them getting out there. So sometimes that does happen, especially on the weekends.
Yeah, okay.
And then depending on what that incident ends up being, it literally gets their mind completely off their first routine trip, and it could be until someone calls us and they're like, oh, shoot, we got busy on the next call. But we're working on electronic gates out there, so that will prevent that
That'll prevent
situation.
that.
Yes, ma'am.
And the signage was not visible.
For the
One of the
wood
roads
sign?
was bent down. One of the signs were bent down on almost to the road, and so they drove by and couldn't find it.
Oh, that I can work
One that
on.
says the gardens at Croy Park, that one was down?
No, it was the street. There's one, they said there's one on the street,
You mean the road sign,
the road sign for
Okay.
Coy Park.
Croy Parkway?
Yeah, it was down, and they couldn't find the park.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you just have somebody from Public Works go over and check out.
You
and see
bet.
If the signage is intact.
The one up at Highway 6?
This is
Probably
Troy.
around 58, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, I'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
What are the hours of Croy Park? I'm just curious. From sunrise to sunset or,
Yep,
okay.
yep. Either way you word it. But that is the hours.
Sorry to interrupt.
I'm trying to think where that sign is.
This says,
I know where the garden sign is, but
no, there is one on 58.
there is? Okay.
Yeah, it's
I've
a
never
road,
paid
that
attention
Croy
to it, I
Road,
guess.
that tells you to turn there to get to
Yeah,
Croy
just a regular
Park.
road sign.
Oh, okay. I
And they
got,
probably got tore down during the hurricane.
yeah, I was gonna say, I just go down
Tons
the
of
road
them
and
still
pull
around.
in, yeah.
Most of the ones that are still down are on TxDOT roads.
Oh, and we know how slow they are.
Yep. It'll get fixed next year.
Right before the next storm.
Yeah. The week before.
I think that we skipped making a motion to approve the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have we got there yet?
I
No.
thought we were,
No, we kind of got off topic, but we were talking about other subcommittees. So
I'm sorry.
now, if you want to go ahead and make that motion,
okay, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
we have a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Did we set a meeting date for the next?
Yeah, do we need to do a motion for that, or are we okay just to?
No, you don't need a motion.
The
for that. I'll
21st?
get another ad out to
You're
everyone.
gonna send out a
Confirm
list
that
of
we'll have a
names.
The
quorum.
21st.
I'll send that with the parks policy for the naming as well as the grant policy. And just to confirm, once everyone has a chance to check their schedule, if you'll let me know, and then I'll send that out for everybody.
And the updated map, City Hall Park.
Yes.
So we're getting a lot of stuff sent via email. Is everybody able to get into their email? Everybody good up?
So on that topic, in the email that we sent to your original emails, your personal emails, we had an email reset with our server system, so everybody's passwords need to be reset. I had asked if everybody could come in a little early tonight for IT to reset those passwords because they have to physically do it. And then one of our IT, our cybersecurity gentleman's wife was in the accident right there by.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
Is she okay?
as far as I know.
Oh, she was in the Jeep. I mean,
They haven't sent any update except for, I asked if somebody could be here so after the meeting, you guys could get your city emails updated. So once you adjourn, I'm going to make sure he's in his office, and if so, it just takes 2 minutes per person to reset that
no
password.
problem whatsoever.
When did that happen? Because I was in my email last night.
So you didn't get the email for the agenda?
So I got it to my personal email, but then I actually went into the Manvel email and seen it as well.
And it worked?
I think it's not updated because I did the same thing, and only Alyssa's was there after I know they sent other ones out. And
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I got
because
you.
I had to update mine a couple weeks ago, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
but it was just like everything that she sent me that day or the day before was sitting there, but like the other ones that I had
Yeah,
sitting
that-
on the email weren't there. And that was the old one too, but the new one worked just fine.
Oh, so my old one completely didn't even give me an option to even see
Yeah,
anything. It was like,
because
just didn't
Donald's did the
work.
same thing. He saw all his old emails too.
okay.
Is there an option where we can we just use our personal email so we don't have another account to check?
So the only problem with that is it opens up your personal email for open record purposes.
Yeah, so go right ahead. Party on.
Reset his.
Right, we really
Yeah.
don't like to do that. This time we had to, just to make sure y'all could get the agenda. But yeah, anything through the city email, it filters through our server, and then that, we maintain the record of it that way.
Okay.
So you don't want that.
No, I don't want my letters.
Are you sure?
And I'm gonna check real quick if they're in their office, for them to come in here and get you guys set up.
okay. You all want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?